Hey, welcome to What the Biz. We are jumping into part 3 of a 3-part series that's ending today, all about how to be an awesome client and get the most out of your relationships with your partners. So stick around for that. A lot of awesome insights for you coming up.
What?
Why? It was why? I had my finger on the Windows button.
You should just leave it all part of the episode.
we're just right. All right, hey, welcome back to What the Biz. Today we are finishing a 3-part series all about how you work with your partners and get the most out of them. Today we're focusing on the client, how to be the best client possible. We ourselves have been clients and are clients to other vendors, so we're digging into those relationships to give you the insights into how to get the most out of yours.
Welcome to What the Biz, where we talk about building successful businesses, balancing life, and all the WTB in between. With your hosts,
I'm Bridget Vector.
And I'm Dan Prochko.
Yeah, tech is not my friend today, is all I'm going to say. It is not working right now. Practice the hotkeys and everything. Total fail. If you're watching on YouTube, you get it. You'll see it. Anyway,
tech is not teching.
It is so not teching. Anyway, you have been on the road for what seems like an eternity today, but you made it. Hello.
Hello. Oh, it is like the blessing and curse, right? I fully live my life by the work really hard, but allow yourself to play hard at the same time. And the snapshots of my life, people are probably like, oh, she's always like gone or doing things. No, I work like 10-hour days all the time, or 12 or 15. But it's for like the flexibility. So like to your point, we spent an extended weekend at our little place up north that we have. My son turned 17 today. Yes, my oldest son turned 17 today. And he wanted to go golfing. And it's like, if my 17-year-old wants to go golfing with me, we went yesterday, like, I'm going to make that happen. We are going to make that happen. So yesterday afternoon, we did that. It was beautiful. Trying to get back today to get back to real life. Holy traffic on a random afternoon in the middle of the week. But we're here. We made it. And yeah. How about you?
Yeah, we've been blessed. I'll say we've been blessed right now. The weather has been insanely nice. So if you're in the Western Michigan area, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, we're getting like low 80s, back into the 60s at night. It's beautiful right now. So we have been outside all the time. Like, aside from like recording right now, I'm like working on my deck. Not like on the deck. I'm working on my deck, but in work. That's a hard way to say it. It's I'm on the deck. Let's just say I'm outdoors all the time. There we go. There's something funny there. But anyway, my brain and the improv is kind of hitting. But so just outside all the time. The garden's coming in. And I know when you listen to me talk, it's like, gardener, no. But gardener. Tons of stuff. Berries, tomatoes, all of it. But we're outside all the time. And it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. Yeah. Riding our bikes it's been a blast. It's been great recently.
It's been a long time coming. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
We had some very not so great weather before now. So this
Agreed.
is us Michigan people are like, it's sun and warm. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, the winter blues is a real thing. Anyway, before this sounds like we're just small talking about the weather for like an hour here, let's jump in and explore our topic for today. So, as I said in the intro, this is a 3rd part in the series where part 1 and 2 we explored, how what is a great financial partner, financial quarterback, for your business. Who are all the people that you should have in your dream team? How to actually, I said 3-part. It's a 4-part series now that I think about it. It's a 4-part. We had the first series of, your big 8. Who are the 8, the 8 people that round out your advisorship. And then we said, what makes a great financial quarterback? What makes a great growth partner? And now today we're going to focus more on how we can be better clients to those partners. I say clients, it's really just how do we partner with them better is really all I'm talking about.
How to get the most out of those relationships. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've got 5 areas that we're going to focus on. And then we're going to talk about kind of the concept, and then also what that means for your financial quarterback, how you work with them, how you work with your growth partner specifically, because we know what that relationship is like from our 2 perspectives, to kind of add in and give you a little bit extra in today's episode. So I don't think we order these in any importance whatsoever. I think it's just like 5 really important concepts to kind of keep in mind. And yeah, let's just jump in. Number 1, pay for the brain, not just the hands. This is really all about understanding investment. And so the concept here is, to be really honest about what you're paying for and what you're buying. So we've talked about this before. If you want strategy, don't be paying for data entry, or don't be paying for someone to just execute. Be really honest and open about it.
Yeah, I think from the accounting side, this is an arena that we see a lot of frustration from small business owners about, and not like with us. I'm just saying in general in the arena. Like we could have a whole episode on the different financial partners, right? But there is this misconception that, somebody's paying somebody to do their taxes and they think that's coming with advisory, or they're paying for their books to be kept up and they think it's coming with advisory. Strategic advisory is one of the most beneficial pieces you can have in your business. And it's not going to be a $300 a month bookkeeping engagement. That is more fractional CFO. That is more like growth strategy, tax strategy. Like there's so much more that goes into it. And so I think in this arena, I think about it of, if you want that brain to help you grow your business, it's going to be an investment to get that individual that is going to make the big difference. And it isn't just a small bookkeeping engagement. So don't expect all of that when you're not necessarily engaged in that way or in that service package.
Yeah, no, I pretty much, ditto that on a growth side. I mean, if you're looking for somebody who has knowledge and expertise of helping your business appear on multiple channels, because it's not just Facebook, let's say, or just email, and how do we use our customer list all together that understands, oh, we've got this audience and type of customer, but yet we got 2 or 3 others. I mean, you're looking for a strategic growth partner that understands how to bring all of that together into a cohesive effort, campaign, whatever you want to call that piece. And, if you're thinking it's a few $100s, not it. You're probably looking higher than that. But could you get away with something less? I'd say maybe. But the point is like, you just have to know what you're paying for. Like we said from the beginning, be really, really focused and specific as to what you're getting at, because, that cheap accountant or marketer, it's almost always going to be the expensive one, because they're not the ones that are thinking in the strategic way. They're not looking at other efforts you're working on and bringing pieces together. They're not understanding the overall arching theme or umbrella or view of the entire business and all its moving pieces. And they're just going to be really, really blinded, and have blinders on to what they work on, and that's it. And so what we see happen on a marketing side when that happens is that you'll have one person working on one piece and another, and they look totally different. Mm-hmm. And so you have you've got like this brand dissonance going on where nothing aligns. Or 2, you'll have like one partner talking about certain specials and offers and another one talking about something totally different. And so then you have this mismatch of messages going on, and it just becomes confusing to the customer of, what am I supposed to be listening to? So from a marketing angle, finding that if you're that client, just know what you're paying for, and if you are going to have a split team of people, you're going to have to be doing most of the work to fitting them together. So hiring that person that understands that overarching piece is an investment, but with growth, you get that outcome. And I know on the financial side, you get financial growth, you get more profit in your pocket, which is really the important key piece.
And really, it should pay for itself. I know that you are very heavy in tracking numbers. I mean, you guys don't believe in doing things that you can't track, right? And we're
Hands
the
down.
same way. So like, if we are engaged in that way, we set the milestones to make sure there is actually growth movement happening. And I think in this arena, if you feel frustrated with your provider or wish you were getting more, the way to be a really good client is to take a step back and really say, am I engaged in a service that they should be doing that? Or am I expecting them to do something that either we haven't talked about or I'm not engaged or paying for? And that's a way to just be a great client, right? Like, and that's kind of the point of this episode. You want to get the most out of your providers, but you need to do it in a realistic way.
That's
And
such a good point.
I know, like, on the accounting bookkeeping side, I think it's easy for it to get blurred in a way because, like, we'll have clients sometimes come to us that'll be like, hey, can you tell me what the most profitable line in my business is? And to ask that question when we're not necessarily in like that sort of engagement, meaning we aren't seeing necessarily everything you're doing behind the scenes, we can't just give you like an off the cuff answer. So if those are things you need, you have to be engaged in a way to get those things. It isn't that we can't, it's just like you were saying with marketing side. If you have a lot of different hodgepodge things kind of like going together, none of it's working in one collective way towards a common goal. And it makes it very hard when they're all kind of like broken apart.
Hands down. I can't tell you how many times clients like, hey, what should I do in this instance? And it's something totally not part of the scope of what we have going on. Our brains aren't there. It's not what we're talking about. And yeah, it's not a great way, not a great time. It's more like, I want to broach this with you. I don't know if it's part of our agreement, et cetera. And here's what I'd like some help with. Is there some way for us to work together on that? Great way to approach a new topic, but to drop something on our laps that's just like, help me with this. It's not, and it's like, hey, okay, now I got to be the bearer of bad news. We don't work together that way, et cetera. Never goes well.
Yep. I think that leads into the next one here on our list. Number 2 is opening that feedback loop and giving access. And when I think about this, not only am I thinking about data, but we aren't able to be experts when we're in the dark. Like, we can't optimize our services for you when we're sitting in a dark room. And so I know for us, this involves having like access to real-time data, and that allows us to flag problems before they become major catastrophes inside of a business. So for the clients that engage with us to where we have live access to like view-only accountants' views of their bank accounts, or if we can get their account synced to the accounting platform, which most of them we can, we are able to actually see things in a live format. Meaning if we're in there every single week and something kind of like gets our attention, we can reach out to a client. If we only are getting access once a month or once a quarter, we aren't able to give that like proactive feedback or avoid like big things that might be happening. So data, like it is so important for us to just have the access that we need to do the best job we can do for you.
Oh, hands down. I mean, on a marketing side for a growth side is, specific, looking at lead quality is a big piece. Most leads that marketing generates goes right into a CRM. And if we don't have access to that sales data to understand, are they in the right geographic area? Are they of the right titles, et cetera? Difficult for us to know whether the leads are high quality or not. We actually recently, I'd say it was about 6 months ago, we had a client that was just like, hey, it's feeling like leads are from outside our area, not quite right. It's like, but we didn't have access to the CRM. And so we shared that, and they were like, oh, let's get you access. So gave us access, and we've been on top of it, and we were able to focus their accounts and get them generating more qualified leads because we could see the quality of what was coming in. And so they've had much better success at close rates because of that. So really important. And it's a two-way street. I mean, and it's also you don't know what you don't know. So honestly, asking the partner of like, hey, what do you need access to so you can do the best work, and then if you're ever feeling like, oh, that's too much, well, have that conversation over why they need it. Get to understand what's going on here, because we as the providers want you to succeed as a client. I mean, the bigger you get, yes, maybe we get more money from you. Yes, I'm not going to lie. We're in it for revenue. Yes, we are. But because we want to help you. we know we can do something well, and so we sell that service. And so if you grow, the idea is, sure, we're going to grow with you, and that would be wonderful. So I'm not going to sugarcoat that or kind of hide that or whatever. We're not in this altruistically, but without that access, like you said, Bridget, I mean, it's really difficult to do our jobs, to see that data, or to even provide the value add of, like, there have been so many times, I don't know if this has happened, where it's not our purview, but we're just seeing something where it's like, hey, I think you should talk to that partner. They're doing something, but we're seeing this happen. And you've created an amazing situation. Not that you're calling someone out for doing something poorly, and you're not even trying to get somebody else's business. I know we've done it before, because we don't really do a whole ton of SEO, but we work with clients that have SEO. And so we're seeing things in analytics and places. And so we've brought them up, and that SEO has taken those professionals and created new content that just led to many more results, and it's just, we're just finding opportunities to work together and to create better outcomes.
And that's a win-win for everybody. And I think I was going to mention the flip side of the coin, which you were starting, I think maybe down that road a little bit, is not only give access or get us the data we need, but be open to suggestions of how to make things better or easier. Like there are many situations that we come into where, maybe a system has been in place, or maybe they've had a process for collecting revenue, or, just kind of as time have gone, they've had a bunch of different systems doing different things for their accounting. And it's like, we are the experts because we live in it. Like, we live in the accounting world every single day, just like you live in the marketing world. And we can see things that maybe you don't know exist, or we know ways to make things a lot easier. So not only like giving us access, but being open to maybe some changes in how the data is flowing, that's going to make your life and your business a lot better.
Which actually also, I think, leads into the next one here, which is showing up prepared and framing critiques professionally. I mean, the idea here is that when there's a meeting with your partner or provider, to come ready for that meeting, meaning having prep. I'll tell you, there are so many times I have not shown up to a meeting and it's been horrible, and for obvious reason. I don't really understand the agenda. I haven't reviewed reports. And so when I sit down with my partners, when I've had a chance to look over, say, my P&L before I sit down with my financial quarterback from within your team, I mean, those meetings go much better because I'm familiar with what's going on. I have questions in my mind already of, hey, what's going on in this area? This looks, a little out of band than normal. And the team member has always been like, oh yeah, here's what we saw, here's what's going on. Or, yes, it is one time, but it's not negative or it's not positive. It's just a thing, it's just really better understanding of what's going on. From a marketing angle, we have like monthly meetings with all of our clients. And in those meetings, we tend to look for approval of creative for the coming months, as well as want to understand what are your goals for the coming months, et cetera. Has anything changed? And so we tend to send out a survey ahead of time. And honestly, we only get about 60 to 70% of them back. And the meetings that really get, the clients that get the most out of our meetings are those that submit that survey ahead of time, that have thought about, oh, where are we at? What are the things on the horizon that we need to talk about? Because we can then come prepared to give constructive input and advice on how we get there, and so without that prep, it's really difficult when somebody just shows up and then immediately says, oh, this is a problem. Well, I haven't had time to look into it. Great, thank you. Now I can't give you a solution here. I have to take that and then follow up, whereas I could have come with the solution or having solved it already, to be totally honest, some of the times. So yeah, that preparation is key. So that when we're together, that time is used in a real strategic way, rather than, oh, we're collecting data or we're just communicating data back and forth. We've already done that work before showing up is really what I find to be, hugely valuable.
Yeah. And additionally, from our side, we like to have the list of what's on the horizon. I know a lot of people think about bookkeeping and accountants as, we're always looking at history, and we like the proactive forward approach. So like our best clients come to the table with their updates. Like we typically do a quarterly review unless we have clients that are sitting in our monthly package. But no matter the cadence, our best clients come to the table that say, here's what we have coming up. This is hires that we might be bringing on, or we have a job posting out for this, or we're considering buying this new equipment, or, we signed a new contract and here's what we're expecting for revenue, or, are we going to maybe be capping out our team's capacity? Can you help us work through that? And just knowing what's on the horizon helps us not only understand when we start seeing it, inside of accounting records where we're like, hey, there's things happening, like what changes did they make? But we can also come with suggestions. Like then we are able to maybe give our clients angles they haven't thought about, or things that we know that those changes can be impacting. And I think that then goes into what I would say is our number 4 on this list is I don't want to just hear about business goals. I am also here for the life goals of my clients. We've implemented a framework within my company that we've been rolling out to our advisory clients called the Enough Framework. And we can optimize with our clients for revenue. Like we can give them all the suggestions under the world on how to be more profitable and how to increase their profit margin and, keep more of that money and pay less in taxes. But I can't optimize for my clients' happiness unless I know what that truly is. And that really is part of our Enough Framework. Like I want to know from my clients, are you working the ideal number of hours that you want to be working? I have some that are working many hours who their target is to get down to less hours. And so we put that as a focus as like, okay, that is our quarterly objective. How do we get you working less hours? What does that look like? Who needs to be hired to make that happen? What revenue needs to come in to get that higher? Like, what does that mean? And for us, yes, like knowing if somebody wants to retire sooner rather than later, we would have different tax strategy conversation. But this is more like just personal goals. Like maybe you need more money out of your business. Maybe you have big events coming up, or maybe you want to take that dream vacation. Like, how do we make those things happen? And I just love to know every quarter, like, what is your life focus for this quarter? Like, what are we going to do to make your business, make your life better? Like,
Yeah.
to me, that's the end goal, right? Like, aren't we all in business to have that objective? And I think it's overlooked. I think we forget about that. We're all chasing this magical number that we all hear in the business world of, I've got to be 7 figures or 8 figures or whatever. And let's take a step back and say, why? Yeah. Like, is my life better because of it? If not, let's change it.
Yeah, we've had some of those conversations with clients where they're like, hey, I need to hire these 3 people so I can get these pieces off my shoulder so I can go do XYZ that I love to do. And it's been fun working with them to forecast that time frame. But we can't do, not just forecast, but create the whole plan of how we get there. Here are the milestones along the way we need to hit. Here are the metrics week to week that we need to follow together and have this whole planned out. And so that when we meet every month and their team meets every week, we're all on the same cadence. We're all on the same page and understand that drum that has to get beat, to reach that goal. But without hearing it, we won't know, And so when we hear these numbers, to your point of like, yeah, I have some clients that are like, I got to hit that million. I got to hit the $83,333 per month run rate. I got to hit that mark because I want to be $1 million company. Great, but why? And then you learn, oh, maybe it is kind of an ego play of like, I want to prove to some of my other people I can do it. Like, I'm so close. I'm like right there. We got this competition going. Like, but that's fun. Okay, that's fun. Okay, I get it. But but then getting to that point, you dig a little deeper, and they really share why they want to be there. But it's fun. It is fun. That's why we're in this too. It's to have a little bit of fun, and it, if you want to prove to yourself you can hit a number, great. Just tell us that's why. That's cool. We're going to help you get there, whatever that is.
I've also noticed the clients that can tie why they're doing what they're doing in their business or working so hard to like it unlocks something within their personal life are much better at sticking to the game plans that are like being outlined, because
Yeah.
not only are they achieving a business goal, but they're going to see the benefit on like the personal side. And there is definitely, I don't have any data on it right now, but there is by far noticeable trends of those that stick to the game plan when
Yeah.
it benefits both sides, hands down.
More for the sake of more is pretty much impossible. And that's nothing to stick to. Like, what's the purpose behind it? But saying, hey, I'm looking to hit this point because I want to have some fun and buy a boat. You know, it's like even something like that is way more sticky than the next piece. But then the next piece of like, look, I'm trying to lay down X number of wealth for my kids and the next generation, even more sticky. That just has so much more purpose. Or then saying, hey, once we hit this point, we can unlock a scholarship for our team members to do XYZ. That's got so much purpose to it, you know. But all of these things are a purpose and give a motivation, like a real stronger motivation than just I want more.
Yeah,
you know, I want more doesn't really go very far.
It's funny you use boat in that example. My husband just asked me, like, is there a world where I get to buy a new boat? And I said,
a new boat?
There is no world.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
I mean, so basically in the end, look, your accountant marketer, you know, they can guess your business goals from your numbers and potentially guess some of your life goals. But if your partners have never asked you what you want in your life, you know, to look like in 10 years, you're really working with order takers and not strategists, and have that conversation. Maybe they evolve, maybe they can't, and you need to find somebody else. And I would say, go back to our Big 8 conversation, because that's a very insightful conversation around that topic.
Or go back to number 1 on this list and
all
engaged.
the way back to the beginning. Yeah, just make sure you're engaged. Yeah, totally. Number 5, look, act on the advice and respect the lag time. So Rome wasn't built in a day. I get that it might be a cliche to say it, but it's true. It wasn't. And expecting your partners to change something at the drop of a dime, drop of a hat, whatever the slogan is insane. So there's a trust that has to happen, a trust of the process. You know, nothing breaks an advisory relationship faster than a client who's acting for proactive advice, but then ignores it as well, and then expects miracles to have happen. You know, so if there are things that your partner is asking of you and you're not doing them, that is holding up the change you're looking for. And that does just go back to, you know, a little bit to number 3 is showing up prepared and being ready and aware. And so when we have our client meetings, you know, we pretty much have always got a little bit of homework for our clients. It's not like a ton of work. It's more like we need certain things from you, or we need access to certain platforms. And we've had clients that have just lagged on giving it to us. I remember sharing with you a story recently. We're still in this with a client that hasn't given us access to their CRM so that we can set up conversion tracking. And that's impacting the outcome of their ads. And it's literally been months, and I've been, you know, we communicate often, you know, literally almost daily sometimes, definitely weekly, you know, and that lag is preventing their investment from seeing a bigger return, or even from them understanding the return in general, whatever it is. It might be a great return right now. We just don't know because we can't see it. And so when we as clients of our partners don't take that action, you know, if I don't get my financial statements to your team, Bridget, for instance, I don't get to see great reports, meaning I'm now making bad decisions on what's going on in my company. That's just one little piece of it. If you know, like I said, client doesn't give us access to their CRM, how do we know what's going on with their sales? You know, so, but there's also a lag between when that access is given and when that data is provided and when the outcome happens, you know? And so patience is key. We always tell our clients on a marketing side, you're looking 3 to 6 months before you're reaching somewhat of a steady state of certain campaigns. Some things take longer, like SEO. There's a lot of work up front. I mean, a lot for SEO, especially if you're making new content. That could be 8 to 18 months before you see those outcomes. Now, some things are moving faster now because of AI, et cetera, but we're still playing long games here. So to think that, oh, I just spent 10 grand and saw nothing. Well, wait, okay. It's been 30 days. You know what I mean? Like there's what we built is meant to be something that's running for years. So let's make sure we're engaging this on the right time horizon. Those are all things that kind of come into my mind around like trusting the process, understanding that relationship, and that we don't have instant miracles, and that as a client, we have our own responsibilities that we have to make sure that we complete.
Well, I think that's the proof that like consistency in any of this is key, right? Like staying consistent is the piece that like holds things together. I think in addition to this, I want to bring up the point of when you are engaging with a provider to be this strategist or be this advisor, and if you aren't able to make strides or act on the advice that's kind of given or the game plan that's happening, I think it's really important to communicate in this world and say like, hey, I'm not able to make any progress on this. Here's why, or like, I haven't forgotten about it. Because silence is really difficult for both parties. Like from our angle, we don't really know what's happening if we aren't seeing, things being implemented. But like if you're asking us to help hold you accountable, sometimes like humans have some stigmas around being held accountable, right? And so like I would say when you're asking for advice and acting on it or not acting on it, like everybody's in this for you to win, and respect that it's going to take time, but also respect that if you aren't acting on it and we're checking in, it's not because we're shaming you. It's literally because you engaged with us to have that conversation with you and to keep the ball moving forward. We know life happens. Life happens for us every day. I can give you my laundry list of things that I said I was going to like implement or do or have done by a certain deadline. And sometimes it just can't happen. It doesn't make me bad. It just means it didn't happen like I thought. So not only grace for yourself, but also grace for the provider that you have asked to act in that advisor and like arena to keep you motivated. Like don't get frustrated with those people that you've put into those roles. And I think it's really easy to do that because we're humans and we don't want to feel like we're not fulfilling our pieces. And no different than what you mentioned on the marketing side, we can tell you or give you advice on becoming more profitable. You don't become more profitable overnight. Like there is still a lag time in any changes you're doing there, just like marketing with getting more leads or, closing sales, whatever that is. So yeah, I think this is a great 5 that we have gone through.
Yeah. So on that note, let's make a transition to our What the Biz moment of the week. I've been talking a lot about customer experience in these What the Biz moments recently. I mean, I think that's because we're pulling it from our recent experiences. I was at a restaurant recently and they were implementing or they were testing a new program where if you ever been to, let me ask this, have you ever been to like Texas de Brazil or like an Australian Brazilian steakhouse where it's like all you can eat meat?
No, I haven't.
Okay. You really have got to. It's amazing. These gauchos, which is the word for, the Australian Brazilian cowboy or whatever, they walk around with like spits of meat and they come to your plate and they just cut off as much as you want. And they all have different meats. So there's like tons of different stuff rolling around, but it's an all you can eat kind of place. And the way they know to come to your table is that you've got these little cards. Everyone on the table has one and you flip it to green or red. Okay. And when it's green, they show up and they keep showing up. So if you forget to turn red, you've got all these guys of meat coming by asking you if you want more. But so this restaurant here locally was implementing or testing a system where they had a card kind of do the same thing. Flip it to one side when you want a server to come to the table, or don't, and we'll leave you alone. And I just thought about that, and it kind of just didn't work. Okay, for one. The card was tiny, and it wasn't visible. Where did we have it on the table? The servers, it's not like, a Texas de Brazil or Fogo de Chao, one of those places. They're big. The people can walk all the way around the table and see everything. And this restaurant, tables are like in corners, they're close. Like it didn't work. And so the server just came by like 900 times asking anyway. I think what they were kind of trying to solve for is like that whole thing of like, can I help you with anything? Are we ready yet? Like that whole thing. I don't know that I have a problem with them interrupting and asking that. I mean, do you think that that's an issue at a restaurant?
No, I kind of feel like that's what they're there for. Like it's the customer interaction and like, people go to restaurants for an experience. And like if I don't feel like my wait staff is attentive, right?
Yeah.
It's like I just feel like they're not there doing that like whole wait job. Not that I expect them to be my like a servant by any means, but like it's the experience. And like I feel like that would also get very boring for wait staff because I know there's a lot of restaurants who have their regulars that like they enjoy that conversation. And how do you get to know people? Because you could have your next regular sitting in that booth or in that table. How do you get to know them if you can't just like stop by and be like, hey, how is everything? Because there are some people who would forget that they had it on red and just be like, oh, they're not coming to help me. Like, it's just something else I have to remember. I don't want to remember.
Yeah, right. You know what? It's not my job to tell a server how to do theirs. I just think about like, what experience are we actually optimizing for? Is it the awkwardness of like a new waiter or server coming to a table and interrupting? Is that what we're solving for? Prevent them from feeling embarrassed? Or are we preventing people at the table from feeling like they're being badgered? Like there's a better way, it's there's obvious tempo, and if you train your staff right, you can see that tempo and you can train them to see what's going on and create a great dining experience. You know what I mean? It's not, I don't think we need this. I think you were saying that you saw a place that had like tablets of some kind.
Yeah. Well, there's quite a few restaurants that will have the tablets on the table. And like, we recently went to one where like the waiter came over to ask if we wanted any appetizers, which we did. And they like picked up the tablet to put the appetizers in. And they're like, oh, you can do this right from the tablet. But then when they came back to take our regular order for like our main course, they did not use the tablet. There was no feature to order your main. So like that was bizarre in and of itself.
That's very bizarre.
Yeah. And so bizarre. It was like, I actually had the feeling like, oh, well, we just inconvenienced you to get the appetizer order in.
Yeah.
Because now you're almost making me feel like I should have known that I do it on this tablet.
Right. You should feel embarrassed that you didn't know how to use this restaurant system.
And then it has like a little button in there that's like, call my waiter. I almost find that rude. Like, I have them, like I said, being a servant, like I'm ringing my little bell. Right? Like, hey, I'm ringing my bell. Right. Why aren't you here to like, no, I just like the tempo. Like you were saying, I think of some of my favorite restaurants and I could never see them implementing either one of those systems. Their wait staff is so well trained that they know the tempo. They know the social cues. They know, like, if you glance over, they're paying attention to know that you might be glancing for them. Like, it's
that's the difference.
They're good. They're good.
Yeah, I think that's the difference between like a $30 a head restaurant and a $90 a head restaurant as well. But I'll say there's a bar that I've been to. I don't think it exists anymore, but I've seen this at other places too. Specifically a cocktail bar. They don't do food. Or if they do, it's just like little bites. But at your table, there'll be a light and you can turn the little lamp on. And it's not a bright light. It's really, really dim. But it's enough for people to see across the room. You can turn it on when you need something and blah, blah. And then your waiter will come over or server will come over because it's something not within the normal tempo. Like this place was really good at keeping up and checking in. But, they were like, hey, I'm going to come by. But if there's something you need in between when I come by, just turn this light on and I'll head straight over.
See, I thought that
was really cool.
That I would be okay with.
Yeah.
Especially if they laid the groundwork that said, I'm still going to be checking in, but if there's something sooner, Just give me the light.
See, I think we've just touched on it. I think that's it. I think it's that there are places that don't train the wait staff on the tempo of the seating. And so what they're trying to solve for is how little training can I give to still create the whole piece? So here's a little card for you to flip at the table because I haven't trained my wait staff on what the customer experience in my restaurant
so
is.
they're passing the
I think that's what it
burden.
is. They're passing the burden.
I think
I
you
don't know.
nailed it.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
I would agree.
I think that's what it is. Anyway, cool. Hey, that's a wrap on another episode of What the Biz. Thanks so much for hanging out. We know your time is valuable. Thank you so much for spending it here with us. If you got some value out of today's conversation, a new insight or strategy for your business, do us a huge favor. Leave us a review at Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It's the best way to help other business owners find the show and build their own path to freedom. If you got a topic you want us to cover, you can head over to whatthebiz.com and drop us a line. We love hearing your ideas. But until next time, keep building, stay proactive, and we'll see you on the next one.